Family is one of those words that means something different to everyone. For some, it's about the people they share a roof with. For others, it's about the ones who feel like home, even if they aren't connected by blood. For me, family became something much deeper the day I married Daniel, a kind man with a gentle soul, who had a little boy named Ethan. Ethan was just 7 years old when I first met him. I remember walking into Daniel's living room for the first time, nervous about how I'd be received. Kids have a way of sensing things adults sometimes overlook, and I wanted desperately to be accepted by him, not as a replacement for anyone in his life, but simply as someone he could trust and lean on. First, things were awkward, as they often are. Ethan was shy around me, often retreating into his room or busying himself with his toys when I visited. I understood. His world had already changed so much, and here I was, another change he didn't ask for. I never pushed him, never forced myself into his space. Instead, I quietly showed up, helping with snacks, asking about his favorite games, leaving little notes of encouragement on the fridge. Slowly, tiny cracks began to appear in his wall of hesitation. One evening after dinner, Ethan surprised me by asking if I wanted to play a board game with him. I can still picture the way Daniel looked at me across the table, his eyes full of gratitude and surprise, as though his son had finally extended a fragile olive branch. That night, we sat cross-legged on the carpet, rolling dice and moving pieces, laughter echoing through the house. It wasn't about the game. It was about trust being built, brick by brick. Over time, our bond grew stronger. There were still moments when Ethan pulled away, but there were also moments when he reached for my hand without realizing it, or called out my name when he needed help with homework. I never wanted to replace anyone in his life. All I wanted was to be someone safe he could count on. And then, one day, something happened that I will never forget. It was a chilly autumn afternoon, the kind where the air smelled faintly of wood smoke and fallen leaves crunched under every step. I had just come home from work, tired and weighed down by the kind of day where nothing seemed to go right. My car had broken down that morning, a project at work had hit a frustrating roadblock, and all I wanted was to crawl into bed and sleep. As I pushed open the door, expecting the usual quiet hum of the house, I noticed something strange. The lights in the living room were dimmed, and there was a faint glow coming from a row of candles on the dining table. First, I worried something was wrong, but then I heard a soft voice. Surprise! There, standing by the table, was Ethan. His cheeks were flushed with excitement, and in his small hands, he held something carefully wrapped in colorful paper. I blinked, overwhelmed and confused. "What's all this?" I asked, my voice trembling just a little. "It's for you," he said shyly, shifting from one foot to the other. "I made something." I set down my bag and coat, my exhaustion melting away as I slowly walked toward him. His little hands extended the gift toward me, and for a moment I simply stared at it, my heart swelling with emotions I couldn't name. Carefully, I unwrapped the paper, revealing a handmade scrapbook. On the cover, in uneven letters, were the words, "For the best bonus mom." Tears immediately filled my eyes. I turned the pages, each one filled with drawings, notes, and pictures Ethan had collected. There were doodles of us playing board games, little stick figure families holding hands, and even a page where he had glued a leaf from the park where we had once spent an afternoon together. Every page told a story, our story. "I wanted you to know," Ethan said softly, his eyes glued to the floor, "that you're really important to me. I don't say it a lot, but I'm glad you're here." My breath caught in my throat. I knelt down in front of him, pulling him into a hug that I never wanted to end. His little arms wrapped tightly around me, and in that moment, every doubt I had ever carried about whether I was doing enough, whether I truly belonged in his life, melted away. That scrapbook became one of my most treasured possessions. Whenever I felt overwhelmed or uncertain, I would open its pages and remind myself of that moment. It wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about trying to be someone I wasn't. It was simply about showing up with love and letting time do the rest. From that day forward, something shifted between us. Ethan didn't just see me as someone his father cared about. He saw me as someone he cared about too. He started sharing his secrets with me, asking for advice, and even saving me a seat next to him during movie nights. There were still challenges, of course. Blending a family is never without its rough edges. But the gift he gave me wasn't just the scrapbook, it was the gift of belonging. Years later, as I tell this story, Ethan is no longer that shy little boy. He's a teenager now, taller than me, with dreams of his own and a voice that cracks between boyhood and manhood. But no matter how old he gets, no matter how tall he grows, I will never forget that day. The day he reminded me that love isn't about blood or titles. Love is about choice. And Ethan chose me.